Hey kids, I haven't heard from the Child Protective Services caseworker who was supposed to meet. We even had a scheduled date, but I started like saying some real stuff, and especially about me thinking that she wasn't real or that maybe she was being paid off by these people, and she didn't call, and she hasn't called since. And I thought, maybe I did hit on something. And today, that coffee one where I was talking about what's happening, I think is what did it. Oh, are we gonna shut off? I just erased a bunch of stuff. Uh, and wouldn't you know, almost immediately, I get an email from her wanting to meet. Isn't that suspicious? It absolutely is. It is every time because this one shows up at suspicious moments every time after I've spoken up about something especially damning about what's happening here. Now, I've already discussed with her that I don't want to meet with her anymore, and I don't have to legally. But this is what they're doing, and this is what they do. They want full and total control over your life. And if you don't comply, well, they're going to make your life a miserable living hell. And what's next? If you really don't comply, they're going to rip your children out from under you. They're going to take them to show you who's boss. Because rather than actually doing the right thing with their skills and their services, they're using it to control and intimidate. And I'm not playing the game. You fucked me. This is what happens. If you didn't want me to tell the truth about what you've been doing to us. And it's not just me, honey, it's all of us. But a lot of other people are too afraid to talk about it. Me, I don't give a shit. What I just went through with all of it, including the attempt, and I know that's what that was, I'm not going to shut the fuck up. And you're not going to rip my child out from my care when you are the ones that are preventing me from being able to take care of that child. I don't fucking think so. I can't even feel comfortable with ordering a computer so I can put my child in homeschool and know that it's going to actually come, that my mail is actually going to get here, or that it isn't going to be tampered with or opened whenever I order it. See, that's what happened with the two phones. They came open. And then it was like, oh, we didn't know it was yours. Well, my name was on the fucking tag. It was big as shit. You didn't know? You can't read? If you can't read, you shouldn't be doing this job. You know what I mean? But no, we're not. And I knew today that if I posted those and said those things about what has actually been happening to us here, that she would hit me up. And sure enough, almost immediately after that one, I get an email from her. But she didn't show up for our actual meeting that was scheduled. What, you want to show up now all of a sudden? Mm-mm. Why? Why'd you miss the last one? Well, if you can't show up when you were scheduled to show up, and then you just want to pop in whenever I say something about what's been happening here, no, you don't get to. I want representation, but I can't get that because I can't fucking walk anywhere. You've wrecked my body, and I'm in absolute burnout. Also, it's not like if I did go and try to meet any kind of representation in this area that they wouldn't be attached to you somehow or that you wouldn't get in their pocket somehow. So no. No, no, no. Until we're out of here, and I know for a fact that that woman isn't attached to you in some form or fashion, because every time she does meet me, somehow she ends up going to talk to you guys either over there or down here without that paper that I had already signed. I already signed a paper. Why do I have to sign another one for her to meet with you guys and talk to you guys? Because I haven't had to do that with any of the doctors, uh, the doctors or therapists papers that I signed. She still has access to those. So why doesn't she have access to the one I signed so that they could talk to you? But see, when I made the deal with the last lady, it was that I told her what you guys had been doing, and she was trying to keep it on the down low and get my mail and stuff for me. So she figured out a way so that I could secretly sign a paper so that she could talk to you and you guys wouldn't be involved and you wouldn't get to her first and you wouldn't, you know? So that's why I'm not going to sign a paper for this one, because she shows up at the most inopportune, strange moments, but she doesn't show up for our scheduled meetings. She always shows up right after I post a video saying something incriminating that you actually did to me, every time, every single time. And it always happens to be when I talk about something incriminating that a certain particular person has done, who I think might be friends with this woman. Am I hitting on it yet? Because I'm not hitting her back up until I'm out of here. Okay, we're not meeting. We're not doing this anymore. I'm not discussing anything any further with you. Just get all the paperwork that you have bamboozled out of me and all my mail. So when we sign all the papers to get out of here, we're done. Period. I don't want any contact with any of you. I don't want any of you having any kind of control over my next housing options, whether or not I have transportation. I don't want you involved in anything, because you have shown me who you are, all of you. And you don't have any kind of scruples whatsoever or any kind of moral compass. And I disagree with it completely. And you're not gonna come in and use your power after everything that you've done. No. So I'm going to post this because that's what seems to get to you, because you know you did it. You know you did all of it. And you keep doing it rather than just making things right, rather than stopping, because you've made me the enemy. And I'm not the enemy. I didn't do anything to any of y'all. But I'm going to talk about what you did, and you're not going to keep me silent about it. And you're not going to use your intimidation and your resources, your government resources, to try to intimidate me and keep me quiet or try to threaten me. Because if you had done what you were supposed to do, then I would be in a position where I could properly take care of that child, put that child in school. But I can't trust you. I can't trust you with my mail. I can't trust you with my child. I can't trust you with anything because you're not honest. And I am not going to keep doing this with you. You're not going to threaten me. All right? Thanks. Tell her I said hi, Saul. Also, you don't notice this because I don't think any of you are neurodivergent, which is why you don't have a moral compass, I think. But you don't realize that all of you have patterns. Every single one of you has patterns. There's certain things that piss you off that you lash out about, and you do the same thing with it every single time. There's certain ones of you that will come into my space and start talking to me, and then next thing I know, all these things start getting fucked up for me. It's a good thing some of you are leaving, because I noticed that. But the fact that you share some of my information with the other clients, right? You are talking about things that I talk about in case management with other clients, and those clients have connections as well, right? That's got to be some sort of breach of HIPAA. But the more I talk about this stuff, I can see you all. Because one day I walked outside and I saw one of you absolutely batshit freaking out through the window, the blinds. This is absolutely hitting you in somewhere. It's hitting home. But you all have patterns, and each one of you gets pissed off about certain things, and or jealous, whatever your hang-ups are, right? Each one of you has a certain pattern in how you do things, and certain things piss you off, certain things you lash out in a particular way about. So I know who's doing what with who every time, because this has been going on for 1.5 years now. Well, a year here, ladies. I don't pretend to give a shit anymore about how any of you fucking feel about it, because not a one of you gave a shit how we felt about it. Okay? You're not going hungry. You're not getting your character defamed all over town so you can't get help. You aren't getting uh, uh, intimidated with trucks because somebody paid somebody to drive up in a truck and pretend to run you off the road. You're not going through any of this. So of course it's going to bother you when I talk about you doing it. Yeah. And I expect the repercussions now because I know how you roll. Doesn't mean I'm going to shut up about it. And it doesn't mean I deserve a fucking bit of it. And I know that baby didn't either because we were already traumatized when we got here. So tell her I said hi. Tell your coffee truck driver I said hi. And if he could drop a couple bags off on the side of the road, I'll go pick them up so I can shit out of my butthole until I can get out of here and have surgery. But don't. Because that right there, that email right there just showed me. Because she didn't show up the last time. She didn't show up when we had a schedule. She knows that my child doesn't like to be surprised like that. Because my child told her that. But that doesn't matter to any of you because you're trying to get at me. You don't care about that baby. If you did, you wouldn't have blocked my ability to get fucking food stamps so I could feed that baby. You wouldn't fuck with everything. You would have let me put my child in homeschool like I initially fought for from the beginning because I knew. Because I know that baby. That's my child. And I will do anything. But I can't wreck my body anymore for you people. Because you don't give a shit. You don't care. You're kicking us out homeless in less than 3 days. Because of your errors. And you don't want me to talk about it. So you got to do something to get me back and get me in trouble or make me react. So you have that crazy option. You got to do something because it's getting down to the wire. The tower is burning. What are you going to do? You have to have your scapegoat. No, I'm not going to be your fucking scapegoat. Right? You made your beds. You created your patterns. You got your own triggers that don't have shit to do with me, but you're blaming me for. Lie in them. Right, so now I figured it out. I said about getting kicked off the housing list, right? And the person who did that is the one that I suspect is friends with the CPS worker. Because I think I saw them talking at the beginning when she first started coming. And this particular CPS worker, who also I know is recording everything we say because she has 2 phones and she does this thing that she thinks she's smooth with. And yeah, it's okay because New Jersey is a 2-party state, and I know that you're doing it, so I'm absolutely going to say the truth because I have been saying the truth the whole time, so it doesn't really bother me. But what does bother me is that every time you've ended up going to them after I've told you what happened. In fact, the last time you came and they were making fun of me in the office right there, and there were about 4 or 5 of them, and I told you how upsetting it was, and you told me to calm down and hush, and then you went next door. But I did talk about getting kicked off that housing list, and the person who did that to me is the one I suspect is friends with the CPS worker. So that explains it. Patterns, baby, patterns.